All right, it is 9 o'clock. We have a healthy number of people here, so I'm gonna do exactly the opposite of what I said just a second ago. You guys are here on time or early. Let's reward you guys. Let's get started. I do want to start off by saying we just had a question in the chat. As an attendee, you actually will not be able to unmute yourself. So we can't hear you talking, but you could hear us. You can, however, ask questions throughout. So just keep that in mind. With that being said, let's get started. So thank you all for coming. We have a really great presentation for you today. Tyler Camp is going to be our presenter. Tyler has a ton of experience. I'll introduce him properly in a second. But before we do, I just want to talk about, our topic for today. Obviously, PlanGrid is a really effective and powerful tool, but the team behind PlanGrid has been hard at work for the last couple of years, essentially upping the horsepower. Like if you're familiar with cars, they kind of LS swapped PlanGrid. And what they did with that was added a ton of project management capability to the core feature set of PlanGrid. And this is what we call now Autodesk Build. It is a separate tool from PlanGrid, but kind of the spiritual successor of that core functionality, the great field collaboration, markup, sheets, all of that, the core of what makes PlanGrid great, we kept and now have added a ton of functionality on top of it to create Autodesk Build. So that's the topic of our webinar today. Let's go ahead and run through some housekeeping, Tyler, if we want to hit the next slide. I do just want to let you all know that for the most part, everything that you're going to see from us today is live and exists today and is exactly what we can do with this tool now. However, if we show you anything that isn't quite ready yet or we expect to come out at some time in the future, just keep in mind that any estimate we give is just to the best of our knowledge. These things can change. It's best not to make purchasing decisions based on things that aren't live today. With that being said, let's go on to the next slide. We do have a couple housekeeping items. Like I mentioned, your line is muted just to, if your dogs go crazy or you need to take a phone call or answer the door or something, you can do that, so have no fear. There is a question box on the right-hand side of your screen. You should see a little question mark. If you click that, you can drop a question, and we are here live. We have the great Miles Willis here to answer your questions throughout the webinar today, so feel free to drop those in. And try and stay to the end because we will have a live Q&A where we will run through as many of your questions as possible. Lastly, if you do have to leave, you will be emailed a recording of the webinar. So if you want to forward that to your colleagues or whatever, we are going to get that out to you probably in the next 24 hours. With that being said, I'm super excited to introduce to you your presenters. So let's hit that next slide. We have Tyler Camp presenting today. He's going to take over for me in a second, but by way of introduction, Tyler has over a decade of experience in the industry, well over a decade. He's filled a variety of roles, and at Autodesk, he helps our customers implement technology across the life cycle of a construction project. Tyler's one of the very best we have. I was really happy to get him for this. So with that said, I'll turn the time over to you, Tyler, and you can take us away.
Thanks, Josh. Really happy to be here, be with everyone. Like Josh said, I come from the industry. Because of that, it makes me passionate about what we're doing and what I get to show. Having been on the other side and struggling through a lot of the pains that we all go through on a daily out in the field, it's made me very excited about what I'm about to show today. To get us started, we have our agenda. We're going through the features of Build, and I'm going to cover PlanGrid's core that are in addition to that, and then go into the Autodesk Build demo. And then after that, as mentioned by Josh, we're going to have a Q&A at closing, the last 10-15 minutes. So first, Autodesk Build was created to help empower builders with a field execution project management solution. So in addition to PlanGrid's core, for those that may be familiar, there's a lot of additional features that have been created for document management, safety management, quality control, and overall project management, which I'll highlight in further detail during my demo today. We have a lot of improved capabilities. As you can see in here, there's a lot of improved security that allows you to work on, different types of projects. You have your enterprise grade connections, your connected life cycle from design to operations, and then the improved sheet markup abilities, and then the ability to do contracts and things like that. As we get into here, I do want to go in a step further to introduce Autodesk Build and why it was created. The reason Autodesk Build was created is that I know for myself the last 15 years in the industry that each year it seemed like the demands to have a project done and completed were increasing, that it needed to be completed faster and faster. And Autodesk has really looked at that hard on that pain point and what we're hearing from the customers, and we developed Autodesk Build. And we developed Autodesk Build with the idea that the only way we can move faster is if we can work in a shared environment, but also rather than multiple point solutions. So it's based off of a foundation, the shared data, that you have all your drawings, your RFIs, your costs, photos and videos. All these things are in one place and can be accessed and saved to you during design, pushing back and forth through pre-con to actual construction, and then to the end user. Rather than these multiple points, it's in one place. And I highlight this because as I go in to share the demo, I'm going to reference this shared data foundation and why it's critical to the impact of reducing schedules and improving lives. With that, I'm going to hop into my demo here. Is when you first get into Autodesk Build, you'll hit the landing page and you'll see on the left here the taskbar. You'll see sheets, files, issues, forms, and then also we're going to have this friendly thing that says good morning with your name. It's very personal, but then your project progress and milestones and links and work statuses and project assigned work. What these are here, these work statuses, this here is anything that's assigned to you personally or individually or that you've created, and this is an overall arching of the project. And then over here at the right, you can see the project weather and then the mobile sync status. And I'm going to come back and highlight mobile sync status later, but right now I'd like to kind of go into the life cycle of construction. Is that there's many different phases of construction, and this is one of the things that we've thought about and how it integrates in with this shared data. And so we'll go into Autodesk Docs, which is right here. And the reason Autodesk Docs was created was to assist with multiple items. One, with that shared data from the beginning. And this could be, from the design team connecting in, or to pre-construction, or just general, maybe you've won your bid and you're ready to start setting up your project. There's a lot of versatility to the way that this tool can be used. A lot of times it can be utilized for design reviews in-house. So if you're a subcontractor, the ability to do your shop drawing reviews internally, but then also allow you to review with external users as well during pre-construction. But highlighting before this here is we have files. Files is, once again, that shared data, and it's on the cloud. There's unlimited storage on the cloud for you, and it has file permissions that allows you the ability to restrict who can and cannot access files. But more importantly, rather than having multiple solutions to share information, you can actually come in and have one place, unlimited data for everyone to access. You also have the ability to come in here and bring in any type of file type and view it. So if you're a company that's a millwork company or a design team or a general contractor, you can take a Revit file, a SketchUp file, you can take an AutoCAD file. Any of those files can be brought in and saved in here, but not only viewed on the web through here, but also on a mobile device. So to highlight this, I can open up this Revit file. And so this has really been created to help you collaborate even further with all teams. But if you get a Revit file or a CAD file, you can come in and you can slice and dice this. You can look at it 2D if you wanted to, and come in and see it from the 2D sheet. But then also make markups over here on the right. You can see I can come in and highlight items. I can put text. I can cloud. I can do a call out, or I can even create an issue. And what an issue is a task that you assign someone, and it's a trackable solution for you to keep things organized within your company and outside of the company. And then also you can attach photos and take measurements. The thing to remember is that all this is still within this Revit file that we're seeing here. And then you also have the ability as an improvement is that you can click here and be able to view from 2D to 3D, or you can also come up here and share or print from here. But you can share a link with any external user of this piece of the file, and they can receive an email and download it. It's here. Once you're in here, you also have the ability to share information throughout the project or externally. I like to say that construction is 90% communication and 100% CYA, no matter where you're at. It's really important to have a paper trail. And Autodesk understands that, but Autodesk also heard that from our customers and really tried to find a way to help make it that we're not doing double entry to have a paper trail. And so you could take any file in here and actually create a transmittal on the fly. And click create transmittal. It'll attach the file. I can enter the recipient and a message and click create, and then it'll send that to that individual and have a paper trail and transmittals that I've sent in that file. I also have the ability to come in and look at file activities. This was also a secondary thing to make sure that someone got the file, that you can also see that they've been able to access it, download it, and view file activities. This feature was really set up to help you make sure that you're being able to collaborate, that the email did go through or things like that. Within this here, I've mentioned reviews. I want to highlight that once you've entered here and you have all your project files, they're here and they're throughout all phases. Again, that data foundation. And if we go into reviews, I mentioned earlier, reviews are utilized a lot of times during pre-construction or design reviews with a client that you could do, your DD set to CD set, or maybe you're a security subcontractor that wants to do a review of card swipes. All this can be managed through here. I can click create review, and I'd come into my project files here, and you can do 2D or 3D. I'm going to just pick 2D for now, and I'm going to pick my architectural set, and I can come in and set up a workflow. I'm going to say it's a design review, and I'm going to put in a name that says, security drawing review. And you can see that's attached here. And when I click submit, the next thing that you're going to find that happens is that it notifies reviewers. You can automatically set this up to have what and which people that you want to be part of. So this could be a superintendent. It could be your foreman. It could be your shop foreman. And then you could add any other individual, and you can set up automatic accountability days if you so desired. And then when you click send, it creates this review. The idea behind this is accountability, is that being able to have people organized in one place to do it all. I know when I was part of pre-construction that we'd have these great design reviews, and even when we were doing prefabrication with our subcontractors, we'd have these great meetings, but it was really difficult to keep people organized and accountable, because I'd have to go through my emails to find out if things were done and go to manage it in an Excel file, where here it's in one place being managed under issues. But if I come here and click start review, I can start the review of this 2D drawing that I've uploaded. And I have these options again. I can mark it up, I can cloud it, and come in here. I can create this task and say, hey, this is a design item, and click here. And this will pop up, and I can say, put in the description that say, fire sprinkler head needs to be moved to align with lights, or something like that. I can put that in here, and I can then assign it to my CADsman or a different individual. It doesn't matter who it is. I can put it to Carl here. And then I can assign a due date saying, hey, I want this done by the 11th. I can also add references, photos, files, any of those items to this task. Where a lot of clients really like this is for the ability that oftentimes you're on a project that maybe you have owner-specific material that has to be used. And so that's where you would attach that, and then you're able to coordinate and have it collaborated even further. And once you're done here, as I create this item, I'll click close. You can export a report, but then also you can create a report that emails you daily, weekly, whatever you want. But then I can come to issues here and keep track. This is where the accountability goes for even further, is that I can come in, I can filter and see, okay, I have design issues here. I just want to look at design. I can filter what it is, who's it assigned to, the due date, and I can even remind these individuals that they need to complete these items. The idea is really to minimize rework. Again, after you've had these great design reviews, even with your shop, that to ensure that everything's fantastic. So from docs, it then feeds all this information. Like I said, this is not only design review from pre-construction, but this can be even during construction as well as you do items. But all these items then feed into Autodesk Build and allow you to access all these items. So I know there are a lot of times where I wasn't part of the design review of items, and there were a lot of times breakdowns as I started a project because I didn't know why we made certain decisions. This is where that shared foundation comes into play again, is that it allows you the ability to go through the files and issues and look at all those notes and reduce even RFIs or delays, and to get an RFI response that simply says, yeah, we are moving on.
Oh, if somebody's dialed in via their phone, we may be able to hear you. So you may want to mute your audio. Sorry about that, Tyler. That's what it sounds like is happening to me.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was happening. Thank you. As we're here, Build, this is, where even more so the construction side happens, is that you have the ability, a lot of improvements. But if we go into the sheets, you can bring in, and you can even bring in encrypted sheets as well. So a lot of times, as you're transferring drawings around, they're oftentimes encrypted. One of those improvements was the ability to have encrypted drawings. And then also you have your logs that are here that you can publish and share. But if I come in to one of these drawings here, or before I do, you also have your additional filters that allow you to tag drawings. So if I want to look at the second floor, I can look at just second floor drawings rather than messing around trying to search back and forth. I also have my search function here that allows me to search drawings for certain information. I'm going to go ahead and click on this second floor plan. You can come in, and our software takes any PDF, a combined PDF, and will automatically extract and name it in your behalf. And then also does hyperlinking. It'll take all these call outs and hyperlink them for you as well, so that you can go and view them. And it maintains the integrity. You have all these markups, as you can see, that we have in here. You get one of the things that's included is hyperlinking as well. So you can actually do your as-built of your RFIs or other items like that and have it linked and go to those references. Once again, you have all these markups, again, like I showed you before, that you can take clouds, but then you can also take measurements as well. So I can come in, I can do square feet if I wanted to. I could come in and take a measurement this way if I wanted to. All those things can be done from here or the mobile device. I can do progress photos. I can click on this here. I can see that I've got some photos in here, or I can add additional photos if I wanted to. Say, here's my photos of what I saw, and add those 2 photos and have that there. And each week come back to that space and reference those photos, and then also include this as part of my closeout process. Within here, you also have your sheet comparison. One of the things that you can do is you can take the old version to the new version and click compare. And as I compare these, you're going to see happening in the background that it's going to take the old version, it's going to be in blue, and then the new version is going to be in red as it's overlaid. And then you also have the ability, oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong button, is that it would overlay these. And as I mentioned, as it's working in the background, it's going to take the old version and make the color blue, and then the new version is going to be in red. And so you'll be able to see the differences because as those two colors overlay each other, so right now you can see what changed. My walls moved, my doors have been added. You can clearly see what's happened. A lot of times clients utilize this beyond just these, but to overlay penetrations or to see what's not only changed, but to also create a paper trail for change orders and things like that. Once we're done there, we're going to come back over here and come under files we talked about. That's still there. It exists. Issues is the same thing that we saw before, but it's connected throughout. You can create issues on the fly. A lot of people will utilize this to create phone call logs, things like that. And then moving into our forms. Our forms features allows you the ability to do a few things. You can do daily reports, or you can do site inspections. You can do time cards. There's a myriad of things that you can do and create. If I come in here, I can create a form. I can look at this here. I can actually bring in smart PDFs as well. So if there's a project that you're on that has certain paperwork that's required, you can utilize that company's paperwork. Or if you have one that you absolutely love that you've made, you could import it in here and have a smart PDF and, say, we installed spot footings in area A. If I wanted to, I could have that in there for the activity, the hazards. It doesn't matter. I can still have my digital signature. All these things are available to you to help you be effective, but then also to collect. I know one of the biggest issues I had as a project manager was collecting my daily reports and my job hazards. And if I did get them, they were generally riddled with coffee stains or ripped or had been in the mud, and they weren't legible. And then I'd have to spend another 30 minutes scanning them in. This really allows you to streamline the process, so it's only being done once, but also you can keep track of who submitted and who hasn't. All photos that you're doing, even from your mobile devices, and I want to highlight Android and Apple mobile devices work with our app, PlanGrid Build, but you can come in and look at photo type. You can see what day it's taken, or I can even go back to tag and say I want to see what ceiling framing is, and have all ceiling framing photos taken in here, highlighted with tagging and export a report. So we get into more additional features. We have RFIs, which is a drastic, improvement, is to allow you to collaborate from a subcontractor level to general contractor to even a design team level. You have the ability to come in here and have even adjust your RFI workflows. And these are set up that some projects you may want everyone in the field to be a creator, and then you have a data manager, and then it goes to an assigned reviewer. That could be the general contractor, design team, whomever that is. Or maybe there's a project that maybe it's a government project. You have the ability to add that owner's rep in here. If they want to be a part of every RFI, they can. But I kind of want to show you this workflow, what this would look like. Anyone could create the draft. It goes to the manager, and then the reviewer can be, the general contractor or design team, and allow that collaboration to happen, and also with the timeline. If I come in to create an RFI, it automatically generates the RFI number, and it has a lot of customization, so you can actually change it to letters, numbers. I could come back and just keep it as 19 if I wanted to, and it would change it to RFI 19, and it would go in sequential order after that. I can title it, assign whose ball and court it is. I can even assign co-reviewers. So if there's additional people that need to be reviewing it, a due date, the question, suggested answer, and then references. You can attach any file, any drawing or sheet, photos, You can attach a PCO or create a PCO. One thing that's included with Autodesk Build is our cost management module, which I'll highlight here shortly later. That's included, that allows you the ability to add a PCO or create one. The idea is that so often we have the inability to collaborate even internally of what's going to be a change order. And then our project manager may be like, oh man, I didn't know that I had that exposure. And then it's hard to manage budget. So you could come in here and put added 8 bollards if I wanted to, and I could click create, and what it does is it automatically syncs and puts that in my draft and possible exposure under my cost management side and tied to this RFI. You also have the additional items in here with cost impact, schedule impact. What these here do really allow and empower you to have granularity to filter within the product of what has possible cost impacts, but also you can create custom reports that are emailed to you weekly, whatever, daily, that say, I want to know what RFIs have cost impacts, schedule impacts, and that are open. It allows you to really filter down so you're only getting the information you really need or want. And then you can come in here and have, project types if you wanted, if it's low, medium, high priority, and then you can add watchers, and these can be made groups as well, as that you can actually bring in and say, these are the people that I need to be involved, that want to know that the RFI went out and that the RFI came back. And once you're done, you click create. And then as we come into an RFI here, you would see what it would look like throughout it. You'd go through the process, who answered it, any general information, additional, what's been attached to this RFI, and if it's been referenced in even meeting minutes and agendas, which I'll show shortly. But I want to highlight this activity log. Once again, I mentioned it earlier, is that it's always having a paper trail to protect yourself, but that's required, and not having to do that double entry as well, is that it's keeping track of this RFI as who it goes to, when it's downloaded, and even with external, and be able to know what's happening. But you also have the ability to tag people. So I could actually put in here @Miles and say, Miles, please update this on drawings or and cost if I needed to, and click submit. And he'll be notified in an email and also as an item within Build that I need him to look at this and go through this as a way to collaborate even further. With moving on from RFIs, we have submittals. The submittals function was created really to allow you a lot of different ways. One is to bring in all your submittals and create a submittal registry, but also keep track of them and put them in batches. But if I create a submittal, I can pick the spec section, the title, what package it is, if it's part of product data, schedules, shop drawings, select the responsible contractor, and then a due date for that. So, and this could be even your own company as a way to keep track of what you need to do. And then you can click create, and what it'll do is it'll create an item here that says I have a required submittal that needs to be done, and it allows you to filter that and say, here's all my open submittals that I need to put together and submit. Once I have my submittal, I can attach it here. I can also add this part here, planning. This is where I think one of the greatest improvements, not only for Autodesk, but I think as an industry is included in here, is that we've got the required date and approval date, but these last two. When does this product need to be on the job site, and what is the lead time? I can think of countless times where, as a general contractor, they need that product. I need you here in 3 weeks. Well, and it has a 20-day lead time. One, this allows that company to collaborate internally, but also issue a warning externally that this submittal has a high priority if you want me to start in 3 weeks. Second, it also allows the ability to collaborate with the design team as they get 10 to 20 submittals maybe in a given week to know which ones they need to prioritize as well. And so that's why I say this is probably one of the biggest abilities to help change the game and improve the process and timelines of schedules for a project. Once you're done, you click create. So I come in here, I can click on a submittal here. Once again, you can see what's in here. You also have the ability to come in and have the submittal. I can open the submittal and look at it if I need to. One thing that's coming out, so you know, in the next couple weeks, is that you have the ability to mark up submittals and put your stamps all in one place. So you don't have to use external software. You can do it all in one place and then submit them. And then you can, once again, the timeline activity log. You know, I quickly want to share this story of why I feel this activity log is also a critical item. I did a cancer center in Yuma years ago, and we ran into a hiccup where it wasn't intentional, but the design team accidentally did not issue a Delta set of drawings. Because of this, we submitted our air handling unit submittal, and it came back revised and resubmit. And we lost 3 to 4 weeks of review time going back and forth and trying to, you know, one, to create the submittal the first time, but then to have to create it a second time. And I spent probably 4 or 5 hours digging through emails and timelines to make sure that I could show the owner and client why expedited fees were now required, where I could have easily come over here and exported this activity log out within minutes and had everything I needed to support that expedited fee. Meeting minutes and agendas is a newer feature as well that's been created. It allows you the ability to have your minutes and agendas in here. You can come in, you can create these, you can see, title it, you can put the description, video links. You're going to create items, and as you create items in here, you can assign people due dates, assign an individual. You can reference RFI, submittals, photos, all these within your agendas. The one thing to mention too on this is that as you do these, that these automatically create an open, ongoing, or closed. Anything that's marked open or ongoing will transfer to the next agenda. Anything that's marked as closed will not. Within these, you have the ability to invite individuals, whether internal or external, and you can reference, you know, files, sheets, all these items, and then be able to also share with all invitees, whether they have access to your project or not. You can create a calendar invite, and you even can export this to a PDF if you wanted to. The other thing that's included is progress tracking. Progress tracking is actually tied to your sheets and allows you to the ability to keep track of concrete and, you know, by sheets and production. And this is something I wanted to show you here and then hop back into sheets so it kind of makes sense, is that you can come in here, you can configure what you want these to be and what you want to track. And if I come into sheets, and open up a sheet here, I can come in here and click progress tracking and show progress markups. And this can be done from the mobile device, is that you can come in and highlight what these are. We'll say this is concrete. I can click on this as I've put it in here and say I did concrete here and say grading's done. And it now changes that color and does a date and time stamp. This is grading's now done. So you can come in, update these. I can even do form work. And what it does is it does a color code of what's happening, what day it was done, and then it feeds into this progress tracking bar here that allows you to see what your actual production is. So a lot of times at account level, you can come in and see out of all these sheets that you've predefined those spaces and then you tag and update those, you can see that you have 75% grading done out of all the ones that you've highlighted, and then 72% form work's been completed. But you have the ability to kind of keep track of what's happening throughout the project as well. One neat feature that's really been added is the ability to have schedule. The way schedule's set up today is that it allows you to connect to P6, Microsoft Project, ASTA, Smart Sheets, and to collaborate even further. I can't tell you how many times I sent out a schedule, an email, and it just went to the black hole of the abyss. And people never really knew what was happening, or they printed a schedule and I'd go out on the job site and it was the wrong schedule, it was the wrong version, and it created more chaos than anything. And so as we've thought about this, we've created the ability to share this, and it's accessible from any mobile device. You can come in here and say, well, I want to look at this week and the next 3 weeks, and it'll filter all that logic that's in here. What I've taken is I've imported a P6 schedule in here, and you can see that it actually brings in all these items. So I can see, click on this here, see when the start and finish is, what the predecessors, successors are. Once again, I have the ability to tag people. I could tag Jake Williams and say, be prepared for this activity next week. And now that I've tagged him, he's going to see it. He's going to get tagged, see this part of the schedule, and know that he needs to be prepared. But also, I can come up here and do references. I can add references to this schedule. I can add photos, or files or issues. So I can add a photo showing that we got rained out today, or that I couldn't finish my space because someone was in front of me, or the walls weren't framed. Or I can create an issue. Looking from here, from the schedule, I can add an issue, or I can create one as I'm going through. So a lot of our clients love the ability to come in and say, hey, schedule delay or something like that. You can come in and put that in here and put in the type as schedule, or potential, or I can call it coordination for now. And I don't have to assign it to anyone, but I could come in here, have that. I can add a photo if I wanted to. I can click create. And what that does is that it adds this condition in here that I can now track, that's referencing this schedule, the schedule's referencing, that allows me to print a report at the end of the project that says, here's all my rain delays, here's all my other delays. But the idea is really to take the schedule, to collaborate, also create issues in here as you're looking at the schedule, even to notify people. Some people will come in looking at the schedule, create a schedule, an issue that just says, I need you on site in 2 weeks. It automatically emails, notifies them that I need this guy, or I need additional manpower here in 2 weeks. The other feature in here is assets. Assets is created to help you with manage commissioning and other assets. You can come in and you can scan from your mobile device. It'll bring it up with a barcode. You can look at the statuses. A lot of people utilize this for procurement, but you can reference. So you can bring in the submittal, the forms, the checklists, photos, and where it's at on the sheets, and have all that equipment in one place in an easy way for your foremen or workforce to be able to reference items in a quick manner. Last in here is reports. You do have the ability to reports. I've mentioned this a few times. You can create, filter these. You can come in, you can schedule these, schedule a report that you want every day, every week. You can put in the email addresses of who these people are that you want to have that. And then every Thursday at 8 a.m., they'll get that report of what's open, status items. From here, I do want to highlight, next is that included is our Insights tool. Our Insights tool was created to allow you to take all that information of what you're doing on the project and have it in one place, but also digest it. So I can look and see here, what RFIs are past due, what submittals are past due, what are my trends, and you can customize these cards to be the information that you want. Or I can look at here, I'm looking at my RFIs. I see I've always got 23 active RFIs. What's going on? Is my project not writing good RFIs? Or is there an issue down the road with the design team or the general contractor? You're able to really take and find ways to improve, where before it's just your finger in the air. We're taking the information that you're doing and allowing you to take it and slice and dice it so it's in a format that you can utilize to your benefit. You can also come in and do safety. So if you're doing safety checklists, you can actually come in and see what are the safety items or which companies are struggling. I'm seeing a PPE, a lot of issues towards this. Let's cater our toolbox talk. The idea here is to allow you to improve your safety rating. As we all know, as any contractor, subcontractor, general contractor, your insurance rate is based off of your safety. And if you can improve your safety, you can improve your profit margins and also allow you to the ability to be more competitive in your bidding. There's also an executive overview that allows you to take all projects and look at them and slice and dice them as well. You have your design, your quality, safety, and cost in here. It takes all your projects and see what the original budget is and what you're projecting, and see who's going to be over or under, and know what the percent complete is. The idea is to allow your C-suite team to be empowered to have an idea of what's happening on the project and to hone in when they need to. The last thing to show you quickly is the cost management tool that I mentioned. The cost management tool was created not to replace accounting software, but to take what accounting software might be missing. That in construction, you have a lot of different things. You have, budgets that you need to manage. You have contracts, purchase orders that need to be managed, and change orders and change management to be able to issue those T&Ms, and then also to forecast. So the tool is created to allow those gaps to be filled, but to empower the project team to know and have a good beat of what's happening, but then also to feed all that information back to estimating to make it real. If you're not tracking your budgets of what's happening, it's hard to know what your real costs are. So as you come in here, it's fully configurable. These codes can be whatever you want. The example I'm showing here is for a general contractor. I really want to make it clear that this is being utilized by subcontractors and owners as well. This is very, very configurable and can be changed very easily to accommodate your workflow. You have your original budgets that you're tracking. You can have your prime contracts. You can actually submit your pay applications to your clients here. You have your ability to keep track of all your costs and management, and then change orders. You can keep track of change orders from beginning to end and issue them and have your schedule values updated appropriately. But the thing I want to highlight more specifically is the forecast tool. You can import in a schedule or create a schedule and link it to your budgets, but then you can come in and do a cash flow analysis that allows you to see what's happening. I can come in and say, well, I'm supposed to be billing $22,000 this month, but I'm only at $7,000. What's going on? And then you as a project manager can say, well, did I procure items? So you can start looking at procurement and be like, all right, well, I didn't order all my light fixtures. That's why my number's down. Well, I better get that taken care of or else I'm gonna have to pay expedited fees. Or all my procurement's done. Why is my number low? Oh, I'm looking at it. It looks like we had 3 rain delays, so my labor's low. Or you can find out that maybe everything's on track, but maybe your pay app is missing information. The idea is to empower you to make true educated decisions, but also, as we all know, as the project nears the end, it's a lot harder to account for money and to get paid in the manner as quickly as we'd like. And I know to wrap this up, that these tools were really created to help empower you from design to construction to even handover, that you can come back and take all this information. We actually have under settings that an as-built export that allows you to export all your RFIs, drawings, and that information, and puts in a zip PDF to transfer data to your client. And the reality is, anymore, owning your own data is critical to your success. And at this point, I think we'll hop into I'm gonna hand it to you, Josh, to see any closing remarks first, and if not, we'll go to QA.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you, Tyler. We have a ton of questions. We are going to get to as many of those as possible. I promise some of you that we'll answer them in the Q&A, so I hope you're still here. What we're going to do right now, though, is I'm going to run a quick poll. We're going to leave the poll running while we do the Q&A. The poll will ask you if you'd like to get a demo of Autodesk Build. You can also schedule a pilot of Autodesk Build. If what you're seeing here is interesting to you, please just say yes in the poll. We will get in touch with you as soon as possible. If it's not interesting to you, you can say no. So we're going to go ahead and launch the poll, and that should be on your screen now. We're going to leave that going, and Miles and Tyler, if I can kick things off, I'm going to ask something that's come up a few different times. What does the process of migrating from PlanGrid to Autodesk Build look like?
You know, that's a great question as far as migrations. One of the things that we first recommend is where are you at in your project? Because if you're mid-project, it doesn't really make sense to start a whole new project. And so one of the things that we have is that when you do by Autodesk Build, that you get PlanGrid entitlements. So you actually get a PlanGrid for every build license, you have a PlanGrid license. So that way you could function, finish out projects, and start your new projects in Build. That's typically what we actually recommend as best practice. But if you're barely starting a project and there's hardly any information, you do have the ability to take that data and transfer it. But the main thing is, like, we do have features that are included. Let me show you, like, in here that, like, if you have forms that are already been created, we've allowed the ability to come in and actually import all your forms and things like that from your old PlanGrid projects and have that transferred over so you're not doing duplicate entry. Is there anything you want to add to that, Miles?
Yeah, definitely. You hit on it pretty well as far as finishing your current projects that are running in PlanGrid. Also, in terms of with your current PlanGrid license, upon renewal, you can get access to Build without having to pull the plug on PlanGrid. So as far as completing those previous projects, migrating data over, as Tyler mentioned, reports can be automatically pushed over. And then some of the documents, there are export and import options for that as well. And we have a team that can help you with that migration.
Awesome. Miles, I know you've been keeping an eye on questions. I'm going to lob another one in there, though, before we get overwhelmed. We're going to try and get to as many of these as we can, by the way, y'all. So real quick, I've seen this a couple times. The iPad, what is the functionality in the iPad app versus what we just saw in the web application?
Well, to be perfectly frank, I think the iPad app is a lot better than the web version, to be honest with you. If you utilize PlanGrid, it's actually the same app. It's called PlanGrid Build. The idea too is to alleviate confusion that you're accessing one app between projects. But as far as ease of use, it functions much faster and quickly, and I think it's a easier user interface. And that'd be something in a demo I would love to show you, or Miles, because we can get into a lot more detail on that and show that portion. But easy use is a lot better in the mobile app. The things that wouldn't be included in there would be, you know, maybe like scheduling reports and things like that. Those are the items that are on the web, but everything else is pretty much there.
Awesome. Miles, did you have any questions you wanted to add, or you want me to keep throwing them out?
Yeah, I'll let you know if I can throw out some. I've been busy typing in trying to respond.
Yeah, no worries. You're doing heroes work over there. All right, guys, I have a couple. I'm going to chain these together. One of them is, can we talk on cybersecurity? We have maybe have projects tagged as critical infrastructure. We need to agree with customers on how the information is handled. And I'm going to piggyback on that, something maybe related, which is this an appropriate platform for an institutional client with large multi-project capital programs? Can you guys touch on that a little bit?
Well, if what I'm understanding is that one is, how does Autodesk allow security to protect data? Is kind of what I'm hearing, part of that. And yes, we have some of the highest out there that it's being utilized on government projects and things like that as well, to maintain security. If there's additional items to this question, I'd love to, you know, please respond in the chat. But as far as multiple organizations and enterprises and security, absolutely. It has that ability to, you know, on cybersecurity to allow that functionality, but then also you could get into more granularity that you have even user access that they're only allowed to view and do certain things to at a user level. And did I answer that question, or is there, I just want to make sure that was answered.
So. I think you did. And then the second part was, is this a good platform for an institutional client with large multi-project capital programs, program management level PMIS, if that adds some color?
Yes, we've been working with a lot of these clients that have been utilizing it. I can't mention the clients' names, without their permission. So, but there's a few universities that are doing multiple campuses, multiple projects, developers that are doing lots of items as well, and absolutely love it for the ability to manage that. And then more specifically, utilizing the cost management tool, feeding all that information and the data insights to keep track of data as well has been one of their favorite things as well. Miles, I don't know if you want to, I know you're answering questions, but is there anything that you want to add to that with the clients that you've worked with?
Yeah, absolutely. I think two things I would add to that is for the user that's used to something, a platform similar to PlanGrid, Build, we often see that it is more open to some of those, executive level overviews. So if you're an owner overseeing multiple projects, or as you mentioned, like capital planning projects, this system is set up through the Insights tab and the cost management, and even just issues that all can flow into the overall Autodesk account with the reporting and data analytics is more open to people that are working on projects such as the ones that were mentioned. Also, Build is operating out of the entire Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. So it is more welcoming to have a project, and then you invite architects and engineers that may be operating off of a system like BIM Collaborate, contractors that are operating in Build, owners that are using cost management. Build in this ACC platform has a little bit of something for everyone so that it is easy to invite other users, as well as it's very easy to maintain control through our advanced permissionings.
Yes, permissionings, data. I mean, these are huge questions we get all the time. I know the team has spent a lot of effort trying to make sure that Build is a good solution for projects of all sizes. I wanted to throw you guys another set of
There's one question too. I've noticed it a couple of times in the chat about how this works when you're working with other, maybe you're a subcontractor and the general contractor has their own platform, or vice versa. I will say that one thing I want to make clear is that the information that is in Build is not locked into Build. Now, for the most optimal collaboration, you're going to want to have it to where everyone has their own individual license, and we have different account licensing offerings for that. But if you're still working with team members that are in their own system, or they're still archaic and they don't want to adapt to something new, definitely don't think that if I create an RFI in Build, only people that have Build can see it. We can always export data. As builds can be exported. It's very easy to share information with external collaborators.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw that one come up several times as well. We've seen a lot of people asking, is PlanGrid going away?
No, as far as our knowledge and what we're being told is that PlanGrid is not going away. It will continue to exist. But with that said, the investment of new features and functions, it's going towards Autodesk Build. So PlanGrid will continue. You just want to expect to see lots of new investments and features being added to it. That's our focus is towards Autodesk Build and developing that product further, and with user interface and connections and things like that. But PlanGrid is not going away.
Awesome. Okay, I'm seeing Brett. Brett, I'm just going to shout you out right now. It looks like you're having problems with PlanGrid. If you go to help.plangrid.com, you may be able to find a solution there. You can also give us a call. Get in touch with your customer success rep. You can call us at 866-475-3802. I'll drop that into the chat. Want to get to some more questions before we absolutely run out of time. And Alan says he was told PlanGrid's being discontinued. there may be some misinformation out in the market, but PlanGrid is not going away, right? Build is the spiritual successor of PlanGrid, so fear not. The question I wanted to make sure that we could get to here, we have a lot of questions around schedule integration. I had one question, does this integrate with P6? And some questions around, are you building the schedule in Build? Or are you just viewing the schedule? Can you guys talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to get into that. And so this is, I'm going to reference what we had at the beginning here. Pull this piece up here because this is going to be where we're talking about that you mentioned earlier, our safe harbor agreement.
We may not be able to see your screen right now. I can, let me close the poll so we can see that.
Okay.
There we go.
See my screen now?
Yep.
All right. So you have, the way that it's set up today is that you can bring in and import a P6 schedule from an XCR file or an MP file or all those different types of files. What's on the roadmap is the ability to, like a product that we have, which is BIM 360 Plan, is the ability to do some of your own scheduling as well. As far as the date of that, I can't release at this time, but that is on the roadmap to be able to do it. In today's environment, it's set up to bring in, P6, Microsoft Project, Smart Sheets, schedules, and to collaborate, one, to distribute to everyone, but to be able to have a place to comment, reference, and like I mentioned, create issues for people off of the schedule rather than a PDF that people lose in their inboxes and things like that.
Awesome. I'm going to try and squeeze in 2 more questions. One question, I've seen this a few times. Who has to buy the license? People are asking, does the sub have to buy their own license? Does the design team have to buy their own license? Or, could the contractor have the license and just invite everyone they need to collaborate with them and build?
Well, I think that question is all of the above. It kind of depends. We see a lot of owners right now buying unlimited licenses to be able to collaborate with design teams and contractors, but we also see a lot of general contractors that are buying unlimited licenses so that way a subcontractor can have it. But then we also have some subcontractors that are buying it themselves because they want to have their own account and to be able to to be able to mitigate their own risks. What they've found is that they go to job and each job has the project set up different. The sheets are named different, they're in a different place, or maybe the general contractor's not updating the sheets like they should, or their guys don't know where to reference files and things like that. So they found on average they were losing about an hour a day with each crew by lost production by trying to find information. And so we found that a lot of subcontractors have bought their own and will take that and put it into their own system so that way their field knows where to look and have that information. So to answer your question, it kind of depends on what project and what your company's goals are. And that's something too, like, if you call, set up an appointment with us, we're more than happy to go through and look at that with you and make sure that you do the right thing for your company.
And I can't think of a better way to end, that we're right at the edge of time. I know we didn't get to all of y'all's questions. It's not because we're avoiding them. There's just a huge flood of them. So what I'll say is we will send you a follow-up email after the webinar with a link to the recording. There'll also be a way for you to request to talk to somebody at Autodesk about this. We would love to go deep with your questions. We just can't do it all right now. So with that being said, thank you for staying with us. We hope that this was valuable and useful for you all. We love your feedback. We really try and bring the very best to you, presented by the very best people. So with that being said, we're going to wish you guys a great rest of your day with our sincere gratitude. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.